You have picked up your phone over 1,000 times this year, probably more. And if you tried right now to remember what you were doing on it at 9 p.m. 3 days ago, you would have nothing. Not a vague impression. Nothing. An hour of your life gone with no record of where it went. That is not a memory problem. That is a design problem. Somewhere inside your phone are decisions made by engineers you have never met, in meetings you were never in, with research you were never shown. Decisions about where to put the scroll, how to time the notification, when to show you the like. Each one tested against millions of users until the version that kept people on the longest was the version that shipped. You were never the customer. You were always the product. And the raw material being extracted from you with extraordinary efficiency is something you will never get back. Your attention. In 2006, a software designer named Aza Raskin was trying to solve a small problem. Users had to click a button to load the next page of content. The click created friction. Friction made people leave. So he wrote a piece of code that removed the button entirely. The page simply continued. Content loaded automatically as you approached the bottom. He called it infinite scroll. It took him about an hour to build. He shipped it and moved on. Years later, Raskin calculated that infinite scroll costs humanity approximately 200,000 hours of attention every single day. Just his code. Just that one feature, he said publicly that he feels responsible, that if he could take it back, he would. The companies that adopted his feature have not said the same. But here is what is important. Raskin did not invent a new way to waste time. He accidentally replicated something that behavioral scientists had already documented in a laboratory 60 years earlier. In the 1950s, B.F. Skinner was studying how animals learn through reward and punishment. He put pigeons in a box with a lever. When the pigeon pressed the lever, it received food. Consistent, predictable, reliable. The pigeon pressed, got fed, and went about its day. Moderate, controlled behavior. Then Skinner made one change. He made the reward unpredictable. Sometimes the lever produced food, sometimes nothing. No pattern, no way to know. And what happened next changed the direction of psychology entirely. The pigeon could not stop pressing the lever. It pressed compulsively, frantically, far beyond hunger, far beyond any rational need. The unpredictability did not reduce the behavior. It amplified it to a level that no guaranteed reward ever could. This is called a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It is the most powerful behavior-shaping mechanism ever identified in any species, including ours. Every slot machine in every casino is built on it. So is every social media feed ever designed. The engineers who built these feeds knew about Skinner. They studied him. Some of them cited him in internal presentations. The science of why this works runs through dopamine, but not the way most people explain it. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That is a popular myth. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It is the neurological signal for something good might be about to happen. It fires for the possibility of reward, not the reward itself, and it fires significantly harder when the reward is uncertain. When you scroll and find something interesting, dopamine registers the reward. But it also fires for the possibility that something more interesting exists just below. And the uncertainty of whether the next thing will matter is precisely the condition under which dopamine production peaks. You are not scrolling because you found something satisfying. You are scrolling because you have not found it yet. The feed is engineered so that you never quite find it. A team of researchers at NYU published a study in 2022 using brain imaging to compare dopamine activity during predictable content and unpredictable feed scrolling. The variable reward condition produced substantially higher dopamine response. Not just more engagement, but a measurably different neurological state, one closer to the profile of gambling than to reading or watching television. The people who built these systems understood exactly what they were building. In 2017, a former vice president of growth at Facebook named Chamath Palihapitiya gave a talk at Stanford in which he said the short-term, dopamine-driven feedback loops they created were destroying how society works. He said he felt tremendous guilt. He said he no longer used the product himself and did not let his children use it. In the same year, Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, testified before the United States Senate that the attention economy is a race to the bottom of the brainstem, a competition to reach the most primitive neurological levers available. He called it the extractive model of attention. Your attention is the product. The scroll is the extraction mechanism, and your own brain's reward system is what makes the extraction possible, but the loop goes deeper than dopamine. Because these platforms do not just exploit the reward system, they exploit something considerably older and more powerful. For 300,000 years, social approval was not a preference. It was a survival mechanism. Being accepted by your group meant food, protection, safety. Being rejected meant isolation, which in the ancestral environment often meant death. The human brain built a monitoring system for social feedback that operated at the level of life and death. Every signal of approval activated reward pathways. Every signal of rejection activated the same threat pathways that fired when a predator appeared. A like on a photograph is, neurologically, a signal of social approval. Your 300,000-year-old threat and reward system processes it accordingly. A post that receives no engagement activates the same threat response your ancestors felt when the group went silent around them. The platform did not invent this vulnerability. It found it, mapped it, and built an interface directly on top of it. And so the loop locks itself. You scroll for variable rewards. You post for social validation. The validation arrives unpredictably, which makes it more neurologically powerful than if it arrived every time. You check to see if it came. While checking, you find more scroll content. You scroll for variable rewards again. The loop has no natural exit because it was engineered to have none. Every friction point has been removed. The button was eliminated. Autoplay removed the decision to continue. Notifications eliminated the reason to wait. There is something specific that happens to the body about 4 minutes into passive scrolling. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, begins to rise, not fall, rise. Passive consumption is neurologically processed not as rest but as low-grade threat assessment. Your brain is moving through an enormous stream of social and emotional information, comparing, evaluating, registering, updating. It is working harder than it appears. And when you finally put the phone down, you are not rested. You are depleted. And depleted people reach for stimulation. And the most available, most frictionless, most engineered for your brain stimulation is the phone. This is the loop that has no bottom. The scroll never ends. There is no point at which the feed runs out, delivers complete satisfaction, and releases you. There is no resolution. There is only the next thing and the possibility of the next thing. And the dopamine signal that fires not for the thing itself, but for the possibility of it. You are not addicted to your phone. Addiction is a medical diagnosis with specific criteria that most users do not meet. What you are is a human being with an ancient reward system running on an interface that was designed, refined, and optimized by some of the most intelligent engineers in the world, using more behavioral data than Skinner could have imagined, with the goal of making the behavior continue. Aza Raskin has spent years publicly reckoning with what his hour of code built. He has given interviews, founded organizations, testified about design ethics. He estimates he would need to work for a full year to undo the attention cost of the 1 hour it took him to build it. The companies that adopted and refined his feature have not reckoned with anything. The pigeon does not know it is in the box. It only knows the lever is right there, and the next press might be the one that finally delivers what it has been looking for. It never is. That is the design. If this made you think there's a lot more where that came from, subscribe so you don't miss it.